If they cut our Medicaid, we would lose every hospital in our rural area, and then none of us would have health care. Not just the people on Medicaid, the people who have private insurance and Medicare. I'm a pharmacist. We took an oath to take care of people. We didn't say, no, only the rich ones.
In states that don't have right to work laws, the average pay is over $8,000 higher. The main thing that would help coal miners is to pass that PRO Act and repeal the right to work where they could have a union, and that would solve all their problems.
So you were telling me that people are unaware, they're unaware that the whole reason why hospitals are not allowed to turn you away in an emergency situation, regardless of your ability to pay, is because of the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, which states that hospitals who receive Medicare funding are not allowed to turn you away. And they are proposing to cut back on Medicare and Medicaid. Talk to a caseworker. There are no ineligible people who are receiving it. The only people who are receiving it are eligible because there is a vetting process. All these people that they say are illegally getting it, it's not happening. The point is to start the process to get rid of it entirely. And if we get rid of the only guaranteed payment for medical care in this country and we leave it all to our pockets with no support, guess what's going to happen to you? You are going to lose out on care because hospitals are going to close who depend on that funding. We don't have enough money to pay the bills that they decided were fair. Which, I'm sorry, I just had a life-saving surgery and I owe $3,000. If I don't pay $55 fucking dollars that I don't have to my primary care physician, they can decide to no longer treat me, and they will. And I've got to start all over again somewhere else. You all think that you're safe because, it's been that way because we fought to get it that way, and they're reversing it. You all have been so fucking pampered that you don't understand what we had to fight for to get you. Oh, but everyone dies. Bitch, apparently not fucking politicians.
So it's make Argentina great again. It's make Israel better. It's anything but America first. And now he's going to take away food stamps the whole month of November. And let me tell you what, 1 out of every 5 people that are on food stamps are veterans. They have fought for this country, and President Trump is punishing poor people for the No Kings rally. That's what he's doing. See, President Trump doesn't want to be president anymore. He wants to be the king. He's already established everything that he has to do. And look, you've seen what them young Republicans were writing, and you've seen that guy come out and say, well, this is just what all Republicans do and say behind the scenes. It's no big deal. This is how we all feel. They're all racist, male chauvinist, pedophiles, and now they want us to accept that. Look, President Trump's ratings are dropping like the rent on a burning building. He doesn't care that you don't agree with what he's doing. He's just going to start punishing the poorest of us all. And that's making America great.
I'm at the point in my life where I feel like if this is not fucking rock bottom, I don't know what is. Because I told my director, I told everyone my situation. I have 6 days to figure out a second job, and then the job that I have now just cut me back to part-time. I have 3 kids. I'm about to be fucking homeless. And I don't know what to do. Like, I told them my situation, and they basically were like, let's kick this bitch while she's down. So now it looks like I'm gonna be finding 2 jobs instead of just having to find another one. I feel like this is never gonna get better. I fucking hate being an adult, and never in my life have I struggled this fucking bad, and this is the most money that I've ever made.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment. You wake up already behind, you go to work just to stay broke, and you watch the cost of everything rise while your paycheck doesn't move an inch. Groceries are a luxury, rent is robbery, healthcare is a joke, and somehow we're the ones blamed for not budgeting better. People are working 2-3 jobs and still choosing between food or gas. Families are crammed into apartments because buying a house became a fantasy. You can't afford to get sick. You can't afford to rest. You can't afford to exist. But they keep telling us the economy is strong. Strong for who? Because it sure as hell isn't the people doing the work. We're out here treading water while billionaires build rockets, politicians trade stocks, and corporations raise prices just because they can. We were promised opportunity, we got survival. And what makes this worse is watching people blame themselves. Like somehow you failed because you can't afford a one-bedroom anymore. Like you didn't do enough, when the truth is the math just stopped adding up years ago. They told us to work harder, but never told us they'd change the finish line. This isn't a country full of lazy people. It's a country full of exhausted ones. Simple as that.
Hey MAGA, did you know that Trump's $20 billion bailout to Argentina just got doubled to $40 billion? And this is after we all knew when he gave him $20 billion that they plan to fuck over the U.S. farmers. The U.S. farmers that are already fucked over by Trump's tariff policies. Doesn't this sound suspicious to you in the least? Why is Argentina getting $20 billion? Additionally, so $40 billion in total, when we're going to have 20 million Americans losing health coverage. They won't extend the ACA tax credits with the Democrats. That's the only thing holding this government shutdown from stopping, is change that ACA credit extension. They want that to expire. That's part of Project 2025. They're just not saying it out loud. Wake up, MAGA. Wake up. This is going to affect you. What you've been voting for and supporting this whole time is going to affect a large majority of you. Not a portion, a majority of you. Time to pull your heads out of your asses and let's band together. This is not left versus right. This is up versus down. The top 1%. That's who's benefiting from all this madness that you're supporting. It's certainly not people in red states, people on food stamps.
I'm really starting to think that Trump is purposely trying to destroy the U.S. economy and get America to collapse the way the USSR did, so that him and his billionaire buddies can buy everything up for pennies on the dollar and turn us into a full-blown oligarchy the way Russia did after the USSR collapsed. That's the only thing that makes sense in my brain, because everything that he is doing is isolating America from its allies. He is destroying trade on the world stage with us and all of the people we do trade with. I mean, China's putting exports on restrictions on all of their rare earth exports at this point. There's literally nothing that he's done since he took office that is good for the American people or the American economy. Everything that he has done has been for billionaires and has been at the detriment of the U.S. as a country. Like, our entire workforce is being decimated now as he is sending a whole bunch of people out of the country who used to do jobs like construction and farming. So we're going to have a food shortage because there's not enough people picking the food. We're going to have a worse housing problem because there's not enough people building the houses. And it literally seems like everything that he is doing is just designed to destroy this country. And yet the MAGA people are still licking his boots. It's wild.
This isn't me trying to fearmonger, this is just me trying to prepare you. The US economy right now is like a Jenga tower with 18 fucking pieces missing. We are one piece pulled out away from everything just toppling down. AI was responsible for 40% of US GDP growth this past year and 80% of US stock growth. And the manufacturing industry has contracted for 7 consecutive months, while every other economic indicator is saying this is as bad as things have been since 2009. Now, when you have a sentence that says the economy is as bad as it's been since 2009, you are fucked. So again, this is not me fear-mongering, this is just me preparing you. Our economy is in a very bad place. If you have a job, hold on to it with everything you have.
Bankruptcies are skyrocketing. Right now, more trucking companies are going bankrupt, more restaurants. Farm bankruptcies are up 35% higher than 2024. Hi, today is your update in the economy. It's October 12th, 2025. We are day 12 of the government shutdown. Our economy is collapsing every single day. Look at this. Airports are a disaster. Last time we had government shutdown in 2018, we lost $3 billion every week in travel alone. Let's not forget about the safety. Donald Trump fires over 4,000 government workers, and now museums and all that stuff in Washington are closed. Washington has an unemployment rate of 6% before the government shutdown. Expect a catastrophic crisis in Washington. We have lost over 1 million jobs this year. Inflation is 2.9%. Groceries are up 29%. We are in a recession in 22 states. We are in a recession in construction. We are in a recession in manufacturing. The stock market tanked on Friday, dropping 900 points. Drop a comment below if you want to stay on the algorithm to get your update on the economy and the stock market on Monday, October 13th.
America is falling behind. When an authoritarian regime attacks academia, science, news reporters, free speech, students, the best and the brightest leave. The same thing happened in Germany, in Russia, in Greece, and it's happening here. And this hurts the country because all of the talent is going elsewhere to help another country.
I'm going to make a video that is very high level in finance, but needs to be redirected to as many eyeballs as possible because this is eventually going to affect everyone, including yourself. And this is not a doom and gloom. This is simply just a high level overview of what is coming and what the impacts will have on your life. I've made videos about this stuff before, but they've been very in-depth. So I want to make a video that is much higher level overview to give everyone an understanding for themselves and how they can prepare. On August 11th, the United States national debt surpassed 37 trillion. Now you might ask, well, why is this really important? Well, October 2025, or September, I guess you could say the end of September, is when the national debt, or essentially the fiscal year of 2025 ended. And we ended at a debt of 37.6 trillion, which means in a month and a half, we added another $600 billion to the national debt. The United States economy, when you look underneath the surface, it isn't doing too hot. Again, I'm not going to go into the weeds, but when you look into the data, it's really not actually doing that hot. And with that, we have 10 companies, 10 tech companies that are keeping the economy, quote unquote, afloat. Problem with this is it's very much looking very bubblish, very 2001, very 1929-esque. Now, the problem with this is the United States government has way too much debt. We are at something called a debt to GDP ratio of 125%. I think it's a little more now, like 125.4%. The reality of the situation is if the United States economy takes a turn downward because these companies aren't able to produce the results that they're essentially being invested into at the valuations that they have, or essentially you can put it in terms of like they're looking as shiny as they can be, and if they're not as shiny as they actually are later down the road, then everything in the market could essentially pop. Now the problem with this is the United States economy, or the United States government, has been a backstop. The United States government does not have the financial capability to backstop this bubble popping. And the genuine concern is that if this bubble pops, the United States government will not be able to fund. It will not be able to bring in the money that is able to then fund the government, the debt itself. And so typical things like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, the largest expenses to the government will have to start dwindling. Now, if this gets even more severe, how does this start to affect the socio-political sphere? And what if the money itself for things like subsidies of energy, like oil, or subsidies for things like food, what if that starts getting affected and farmers can't produce the food that we need, and oil companies can't produce the energy that we need, and we have essentially a sell-off and the inability to fuel the people that we have? What happens then? And genuinely, I would typically say, hey, the United States will be able to get through this. Humans have ingenuity, and we have the ability to see the problems, be able to work around the problems, create solutions to the problems. But the only caveat to this is when you have a problem, it tends to be something that's a little more concrete. But what we're talking about now is not a concrete problem. What we're talking about is a system failure, a point where the actual government, the entire thing that we know of collectively as what we all bank on as being secure pops and it goes away. And that's the genuine concern. And so the spiral looks like this. The hype gets real in artificial intelligence that it's going to be able to boost productivity and help us grow out of the national debt. Then the productivity, the AI bubble pops instead of it being a real boom. And then that spirals over to the government not having the capital or the money to be able to fund the debt. And then the debt spirals. And then the debt causes the United States government to go insolvent. And then the entire populace turns into a socio-political, violent collapse. This definitely isn't a conversation you want to have over our dinner table. But again, more people need to be aware of this situation because it is a process that is playing out right in front of our eyes. So let's talk about it now before the situation actually is around the corner.
This is fresh off the presses. This is amazing. So you know how farmers were pleading to the Trump administration for help, and they expressed so much anger that the Trump administration gave your tax dollars and my tax dollars to the tune of $20 billion to Argentina, who turned around then and went straight to China and said, hey, we'll trade directly to you. And China, as a result, put in zero orders with U.S. farmers because Argentina used that $20 billion to reduce the cost of exporting to China. Remember that outrage? And remember when Republicans were texting each other, oh my God, I think we fucked up with this $20 billion to Argentina because now China's the one benefiting from all this and our farmers are screwed, right? Well, I am happy to say that the Trump administration heard you, Mr. Farmer. He heard our farming community. He heard other Republicans, especially in Congress, who expressed concern. They understood what they did and how it's harming farmers, and they took action. And you'll be happy to know they're giving Argentina another $20 billion of your tax dollars and my tax dollars. Now, I want Trump supporters to know that you are now officially out of the honeymoon phase and part of the narcissistic fascist regime. They don't care about you. They never did. They got what they wanted from you, and they're going to keep getting more from you, even though you're not going to like it.
It's not just that something like 7 million Americans took to the streets to peel Donald Trump's small, clammy fingers off the throat of America. The sheer number is not what makes this remarkable. What makes this remarkable is that right now Trump is in the process of tearing apart our economy, our government, our military, and our relationships with all of our allies. And in that context, 7 million liberals and leftists turned up to fight for what we believe in, compared to 50,000 at Donald Trump's Stop the Steal rally on January 6th. And there were 0 arrests in Washington, D.C. and New York City, and so far not a report of a single major conflict, compared to over 1,500 felony convictions after the MAGA riots. And they call us the deranged lunatics? That's rich. This reminds me of a fact I heard about 5 years ago that still haunts me. Right now, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett are the first, second, and third Supreme Court justices in American history to be nominated by a president who lost the popular vote and confirmed by a group of senators representing less than 50% of the American public. To be exact, Donald Trump lost to Clinton by 2.8 million votes. The senators who voted to confirm those 3 justices represent over 10 million fewer Americans than those who voted against confirmation. Yes, on one hand, this is incredibly frustrating. But when I look at the numbers in the No Kings protest, the largest protest in American history, what I see is a reminder that we are the smart, kind, informed majority. We just need to remember to fight because this is their extinction burst. The monsters, they feel their grip over the world weakening, and they are going to fight like hell to not let go, using every lever and every trick to lie, manipulate, and distort reality, all in service of protecting the power structure that allows people who are not us and who have not earned the right to speak for us to retain power over us. But we have the numbers, we have the people, and we have the policies. And if we're going to make it count, we simply have to not let up.
So when white people were voting for President Trump, their initial hope was that this man is going to take care of them. make sure that their interests are well taken care of, that every need that they have is going to be worked on. And for many white people, the promises were very loud here, and everyone could see that. Everyone who was participating actively during that time and watching the videos, attending the rallies, the campaigns, there was a lot of promises that have turned out to be actually empty promises. And that is very uncomfortable for white people to finally realize, because the time when they were being promised all these things, and it was a bit too much, a bit too good to be true. And black people talked about it. They were skeptical about, this guy, and they were basing that on the things that he had done in the past, the kind of history that he has, the kind of, how someone moves, how someone rolls, and that can inform your decision on whether or not you're going to choose them. Now, black people looked at all those things, and they came to a conclusion that he's not the perfect person for that position. But when they talked to white people about it, white people were not, they were not buying it. For them, it was really a matter of voting for someone that is their own kind, someone that was going to put them first, someone that was going to make sure that they are protected, yeah? And that is what informed their decision. And I'm not generalizing. I know that there are some white people that did not vote for him. There are white people that listened to black people. There are white people that were just critical in their thought, and they knew that this guy was not it, We need a good president, but this is not it. And they did not vote for him. But even with that, there's a whole whooping, like 80% of white people that voted him in, and they vetted everything, and they actually thought that he is good, he fits that position and he's okay to go. They voted for him. They were given all those promises, and from a distance you'd think their life is going to be heaven on earth. And how they believed all these things is quite a mystery, because sometimes when someone is over promising, when someone is giving a lot of promises, you should be in a position to at least question some of them. If someone has not been moving right from the beginning, there is no chance that they are going to suddenly change and become that perfect person that you hope that they are going to be. Now, that is exactly what has happened to to white people, and especially the MAGA people. They are now uncomfortable about the fact that the guy they voted in to make sure that their lives are okay, to make sure that they are well protected, to make sure that everything they need is catered for. He has turned his back on them. He is not caring about whatever is happening to them. He does not mind a thing about what is happening to them. So it's an issue of someone that wanted something and they finally found it. All he needed from white people was votes, and some black people, by the way, and some other races as well. So whatever he wanted was actually for you guys to vote for him, and most of you actually did. That is all that he needed. That is all he'd ever asked for. Now, once he got whatever he wanted, he forgot about everything that he'd promised, because to him, it was actually just strategy to get votes. And the people that were what I would call foolish enough to fall for that trap are now regretting their decisions. And you see, it's just too late to regret right now, because there's nothing more that you can do. You have to wait for the term to end. Yeah. And if you do not learn from this experience, if you do not take these lessons seriously, people are crying all over the place. People are homeless. No jobs, no medical cover, not enough food. People are barely spending time with their families. They do not have the time. You have to be working a number of jobs for you to be comfortable in these harsh economic times. So that means that you do not have time for your children, time for your spouses, time for anything else that is more important. all that matters right now is money. If you do not have money, then your life is going to fall apart. And people are, in a situation where they have to just keep working day and night. Whatever you find your way and you can do it, you go ahead and do it, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a very bad place. And the prices of things are just going up every day. Nothing is changing. No reverse gears. Nothing is changing for better. You wake up one day and the fuel prices are up. Yeah, they have gone up a bit, and that is very uncomfortable to be in that situation right now. But we keep hoping for the best. We keep hoping that things will be different, that people will actually learn. My biggest prayer right now is that white people, black people, Asians, Latinos, everyone that voted for President Trump, I hope that they are seeing everything that is happening and they're being open-minded about their next decision someday. Because this is how you learn. If you do not learn from this experience, you're going to, you see, politicians are always the same. Yeah, he might not run a third term. Well, he's saying that he might, but if he doesn't run a third term, believe me, there are people that are going to run, and politicians are really the same. They're very much the same people. They speak the same language, they have the same rhetoric, they do their things the same way. So if you use this knowledge that you have now, the lessons that you've gathered from this Trump experience, make sure that you're also applying it next time, be it him or any other politician, because that's how they are. They will overpromise. They will say all manner of things, the things that you want to hear, because they know you. They know what you want to hear. Their psychology game, it's on top. So they will do all these things. They will tell you everything that you need to hear for you to vote for them. And once you do that, that's all they needed from you. They discard you, go on with their lives as if you do not exist, because you don't in their lives. And that is just what politics is. And I guess that is why someone said politics is a dirty game, because they really don't mean anything that they say. They do not promise because they want to fulfill. And some of them actually use God, you see. The people that I fear the most are those that can use the word of God, the Bible, quote the Bible, and actually be lying, like, I do not understand those ones, and I guess they're just the worst, yeah, because for most of us that are Christians and that are believers, you do not want to find yourself in a position where you are fighting God. You can fight a human being, you can fight animals, you can fight other things, but you are putting yourself in a position where you're lying about God, and you're putting God in your sins, yeah? You're hurting people and you're using the word of God to hurt them. I guess those are the people that I fear most when it comes to politics and politics. So, guys, I know you have a lot to say about this. You might be agreeing to what we are saying here, and especially what I am saying. And there are some people that actually do not agree to whatever we are discussing over here. Feel free to leave a comment. Doesn't matter if you agree or not. Please, it's a safe space. Speak your mind. Let's interact. Let's know what you think about the events that are happening in this video. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, if you're watching me for the first time, never seen this face, never been here before, my name is Furaha, and I'm glad to have you on my channel today. I am so happy that you stopped by to watch to this point, and please consider subscribing to the channel to be part of this amazing family. And returning subscribers, always in my heart, guys, always in my heart. I really love you guys, and thank you for the support. Thank you for sharing the videos, liking them, leaving comments, giving me a thumbs up, super thanks, yeah, all those things. Thank you so much for your active participation, and I hope that you're also keeping safe from wherever you're watching me from. um I keep saying these days that a very hard season for everyone, and things are just not working out the way that we would hope they do. Life is very expensive, opportunities are becoming rare by day, and a lot of things are just not going right. Yeah, the best news is no news, and it's just crazy all over the place. But we keep hoping, we keep hopeful that things will take a different turn, that things will be okay, and that we can actually learn to give thanks in every situation. I know it's hard sometimes when things are this bad, this hard. You might start to doubt yourself, to doubt God, to doubt if He really cares, you know. But let's challenge ourselves today to always give thanks despite whatever is happening outside of us. Yeah, let's give thanks in every situation. Guys, I'll see you on my next video. Bye for now.